Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Jack. Back again to talk about MDI Season 3, Group A, which is coming up this weekend. Since I'm not going to be there on the desk, I wanted to put together just a quick video of not only some of my predictions for how I think the week is going to end up, some of the big dungeons that you should watch out for, where I think some of the map bans are going to start coming in around, talking about some of the teams, who they are, some of the changes on the rosters that we've seen over the years, and finally, who I think is going to take home the win of this weekend, and which two teams are going to go on to the LAN later on this year. All right, this weekend we have plenty of noticeable names. We've got Echo, of course. Apes Together Strong has played a number of times in the past. Yeppers has a few MDI veterans like Lozelle. Not sure about Dwarf this, TBD. Baldy, of course, is a former Liquid/Limit squad. / Complexity squad. They've got Lapon taking for them, and of course JB healing. Witness Cuties going up against them. Evolved is Shella's squad. Shella's been either like coaching or competing in the MDI forever at this point, and they did really well in the time trials, and they're also going to go up against Incarnation. So very interesting seeing that 6th and 7th seed out of Evolved. Incarn, of course, didn't have a great time trial or anything like that, but I am kind of curious to see where they're at in terms of their practice level, because obviously they can play at an extremely high level, but we've also seen a lot of emphasis on great push for them. So is this going to be, hey, we're going to get into the tournament, we're going to see what bracket we end up in, and this is going to determine our practice level? Or is it going to be, hey, we're all in for that spot at LAN no matter what happens? We're going to have to see this weekend. Echo, obviously, I do think is going to be taking the victory against Apes Together Strong. One of the notable things about this weekend, and about MDI in general, is whenever you have map bans, you have 5 maps that are going to be selected all in a row, and you go left to right, and that's the order that you play in. But you can't ban the first map. So a lot of these dungeons that we're going to start seeing and the teams are going to have to start playing through, there's a ton of emphasis on that first dungeon that they have to go for in terms of how they practice and how they start setting themselves up. Echo, for example, has streets represented in like one of the later rounds in round 1. It's like one of the later dungeons that they have, and they may or may not get to it depending on how the bans roll out. If there's like bans on dungeon 2 and 3, then yeah, they go 1, 4, and then 5 if it gets to 5. But notably, it will be one of the first dungeons for them. Streets will be one of the first dungeons for Echo in like the quarterfinals. So that's a dungeon that they're already going to be practiced for, because they're going to anticipate the win in round 1 against the 24 seed, and they're going to be ready to move on. So when it starts going into semifinals or to grand finals, that's one dungeon that they say, okay, we've already practiced for, we already have a new strategy for it. It's a newer dungeon, and that's going to be where Echo really has made a lot of their bread over the years. Is some of the harder dungeons, some of the newer dungeons, they've been at the cutting edge of innovating and figuring out new strategies, figuring out the fastest strategies, and then you start seeing people take those strats, adjust them, tweak them, and make them their own. Incarn, of course, has gone off the beaten path a number of times, whether it's been for the DPS or healer meta, or sorry, DPS or tank meta, whether it's been on dungeon strategies, all of that stuff. So again, it's that question, is this Incarn great push fired up going to be just running people over? Is it more, hey, they're pushing on live servers, they're going to see where they get, oh, they're in a bracket with Echo, it's going to be it's not going to be a fun time for anybody who goes up against them, right? That's going to be what I'm looking for out of Incarn. Echo, I fully expect to start setting the bar, and it's pretty notable that they're the ones playing on week 1, because that's going to give opportunities for everybody else. Week 2, week 3, of course, some of the affixes are going to flip, but some of those strategies, some of those routing is going to definitely remain. We've been talking about some of the dungeons, some of the affixes. Of course, Encrypted's coming into play. We've already seen on live servers how WoW has done a great job of allowing people to make like really massive skips. The other side has been one just to be able to get past some of like the Mechagon Wing, for example, to be able to get past trash and sort of route a bit more efficiently to get into Ardenweald very rapidly. A lot of people have been killing Woe at the very start of the dungeon so that they can then get into Ardenweald. We've seen also teams in MDI just skip that first trash pack and then bring it in with the boss. So there's a lot of variety that you're going to be looking for in terms of how these teams are going to be utilizing the relics, particularly Woe, like I said, and how much they're going to really be able to like stack some of those relics together. Because the other side is really interesting because of the fact that It's bolstering, which is always going to be super nasty. It's tyrannical, and it's a lower keystone level. I believe they already made it so that bolstering isn't going to affect bosses, so we've already seen strategies in the past where they're pulling massive amounts of trash into boss on non-bolstering weeks, previous MDIs, to be able to take advantage of the Mozala haste buff, and you're just getting tons of funnel damage, tons of single target damage into Mozala. So that's going to be one I'm interested in seeing. But a lot of the other trash pulls, they have to watch their damage, they have to even everything out, because bolstering, because it's not fortified, things are going to die very, very quickly for these key levels that we're seeing, because it feels like even on live servers, you can like pug these 23, 24s, and it doesn't actually feel as bad as long as you have like a warlock who can just run stuff over, you know? Definitely feels bad not being there to be watching all the Holy Priests, for example, because I think we're going to see a ton of Holy Priests to complement warlock gameplay. Tanks, we've seen blood decay and everything like that in the past. I'd love to see more of that, especially because of how easily it synergizes with the Holy Priest, because they'll basically just be able to have free reign to DPS all the time, 24/7, no matter what. There's also the Night Elf effect, where priests can be Night Elf, but shamans can't be. Citation needed. Pretty sure they can't be. That'd be weird. So being able to have everybody in the party be able to use Night Elf and everything like that, use the Shadow Meld Racial and everything to get around trash skips, so you don't have to rely on woe, so you don't have to take a DPS loss by not killing like the Relic, as an example. So those are all a couple different things that I'm watching for, and how it's also going to start chaining over to like live servers. I know Mist is also going to be a very, very nasty dungeon because it's spiteful. So whenever you have to deal with the maze, Spiteful is just a massive, massive pain because of having to kill everything equally, so you actually drop combat so that before the Spiteful properly spawn, you can run through the wall in the maze. That said, I have seen some certain trinkets coming back into fruition. I think it's the Tazvesh trinket that just pulls things from everywhere no matter what. I think it's like the tank like tabbing to them. I'm not sure if that's still there or if there's new tech, but I'm sure MDI is going to have it, because that has just been the mainstay of that dungeon, is finding different ways to pull things through walls. And yeah, you may not kill everything equally together, and you'll have to actually AoE down the Spiteful, but it doesn't really matter that much when you pull like 3 or 4 walls worth of trash all together and AoE it down, and then the next 2 or 3 walls you just keep on walking through, and you solve, and then you keep on walking through without any sort of issue. I do think Echo Shocker is going to take the victory and everything like that in this group finals, but I am a little conflicted to see how Evolved, Incarnation, and Baldy, because I think those are the top 3. Maybe I'll be proved wrong by Yeppards or Dwarf this, but I think Baldy, Evolved, and Incarnation are going to be those 3 big teams to watch to see which of them is going to go to LAN and which one is going to go up against Echo in the group finals. My bet at the moment is on Baldy, because Lapan, super jacked, super strong. I mean, this guy has got muscles of steel, just corded fiber built up into his... Have you guys seen? But they also have tons of MDI veterans. They got tons of experience. They've been around before, you know. And notably, they have a lot of time and experience being in lower bracket, being the underdog. And I think that always is going to serve you well. The endurance, the stamina that comes from playing the entire weekend is always super important for something like MDI. And when you can deal with that stress, when you can play super consistently every single time, I think that's just going to be a boon. No priest pun intended for a lot of these guys. So we'll see. I'm super excited to see Holy Priest. I'm super excited to see just massive, massive damage for like the first time at a Holy Priest in Dungeons. Oh man, I'm going to love it. But be sure to tune in. Description below, youtube.com/Warcraft. It's going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, noon, Yeehaw time, my time, 1 p.m. Eastern. Something for Europe, probably like 7 or 8 p.m. their time. Something along those lines. So grab a bevy. We'll be talking about it all the time on my Discord. Link in the description below to see how some of these teams are going to be faring. So yeah, enjoy. I know I will be. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And I'll see y'all next time. Let me know as well what you guys like to see for different analysis or different previews and everything before each MDI weekend, all right? Have a good one, guys. Take it easy. I'll see y'all next time.